Hello friends, we are going to continue with redemption of debentures, right? And we have been discussing about the various methods of redemption. So what are the methods that we have discussed? First we discussed redemption on maturity in lump sum. Then we discussed about redemption in installments by draw of lots, right? Then the third one, we discussed redemption of debentures by purchase from open market. That is, instead of going to the debenture holder to discharge its liability, we purchase our own debentures from the open market, right? So these three methods of redemption we have discussed in detail, right? Now we are going to discuss the fourth and the last method, that is redemption by conversion of debentures. Redemption by conversion of debentures. Right? Now, what is this redemption by conversion of debentures? That means if originally I have 10% debentures, right, on the date of maturity, instead of paying cash, I can either give them shares of the company or I can convert them into some other debentures, other class of debentures. Other class of debentures means say 8% debentures on which this interest rate is different. These are known as the other class of debentures. So on maturity or even before maturity, if I want to redeem these debentures by conversion, I can convert the debentures either into shares or into another class of debentures having a lower interest rate. Clear? This is how we redeem these 10% debentures. How we can convert these debentures into shares or into another class of debentures. Right? So you can write down debentures can be converted into shares. Shares include both equity and preference, right? Or another class of debentures, right? So debentures can be converted into either shares or another class of debentures for redemption. Clear? Now, 2-3 provisions are important regarding this. If you remember, at the time of DRR, I told you that DRR is to be created on the non-convertible part of debentures. So, in case of conversion, DRR is not required to be created for convertible debentures, right? So if you have issued convertible debentures, that means debentures which can be converted into shares or another class of debentures. So for those debentures you are not required to create DRR. Clear? And now regarding the DRI, if you are not required to create DRR, then you will not invest in the specified securities, because there also I told you that DRI is done for those debentures for whom DRR is required to be created. So if the DRR is not required to be created, then even the investments is not to be made. DRI is also not required to be made. Clear? So these are the important points regarding conversion. First of all, debentures can be converted into shares or another class of debentures. Then, if you have convertible debentures, that is debentures which can be converted into either shares or another class of debentures, for those debentures DRR is not required to be created. If DRR is not required to be created, then you are not to make investment in specified securities, that is DRI. Clear? You can go through those lectures of DRR and DRI and compare these provision, right? You will understand. Clear? Now, if we talk of debentures, if we talk of conversion of debentures, debentures can be fully convertible or partly convertible. This means that if you have issued, say if you have issued 10,000 debentures, right, either these can be fully convertible. Fully convertible means you can convert all these 10,000 debentures into shares or another class of debentures. What is partly convertible? The condition says at the time of issue only the conditions are set. Remember that always. Right? So in case of partly convertible, they say only 5,000 debentures. This is just example, right? They say that you can convert only 50% of your debentures into shares or another class of debentures. So remaining 5,000 will remain non-convertible debentures, and this 5,000 will become the convertible debentures. These are known as partly convertible debentures. So we have to study about, in the conversion, we have to study about two types of debentures. One is fully convertible and one is partly convertible. Clear? Then I just told you, now debentures can be converted into two. One is shares or another class of debentures. This is similar for both, either fully convertible or partly convertible. Right? Now if I talk of shares, share can be issued at par or at premium. This is all what we know. And talking of debentures, it can be at par, at premium, or at discount. Right? The same provisions are here. Shares can be issued either at par or at premium. Debentures can be issued either at par or at premium or at discount. Right? So we have to do the accounting treatment of these things. Right? First we'll do fully convertible debentures being converted into shares or debentures. Right? Let's first see the accounting treatment of first part. Debentures are fully convertible. Now your first entries will be common. What are your first entries? When the amount is due to the debenture holders. I will say 10% debentures account debit to debenture holders account. Right? This entry will be common in both the cases for the amount due to the debenture holder. Clear? Then Now the debentures are fully convertible and converted into shares or debentures. Now issue of new shares or debentures at par. Now what will be the entry? To whom you have to pay? You have to pay to the debenture holder. Debenture holder account debit to shares or say 8% debentures account. That is another class of debentures. 10% debentures we have converted into 8% debentures. Is this clear, friends? Right? So fully convertible either into shares or debentures at par. So we have discussed this part. Now if issue of new shares or another class of debentures is at premium, then very simple, again the debenture holder will be debited because we are writing off our liability to shares or say 8% debentures. That is another class of debentures, and securities premium will be taken to a separate account known as securities premium reserve account. Clear? First of all, this entry will be common in all the cases. The amount that is due to the debenture holder. Then you have to see that whatever the new shares or the debentures you are issuing, that issue is at par or at premium, or issue of new class of debentures is at discount. Now we have discussed at par, at premium we have discussed. Now discount case is only in case of debentures. The shares cannot be issued at discount. Right? So what I will say here is issue of new debentures at discount. Here I will not take shares because shares cannot be issued at discount. Right? Then debenture holder account debit discount on issue of debentures account debit to say I have issued 8% debentures to 8% debenture account. Clear? So we have discussed this case also. So that means we have discussed the debentures that are fully convertible. Right? This partly convertible debentures we'll do in the next lecture. So in this lecture what we have done, we have seen how the debentures are converted into either shares or the debentures. So that is redemption by conversion of debentures. You are cancelling these 10% debentures, and against these debentures, instead of paying cash to the debenture holder, what you are doing is you are either issuing the shares to that debenture holder or you are issuing new class of debentures. Clear? Instead of paying cash to the debenture holder, we are issuing the shares or a new class of debentures to that particular debenture holder. Right? So debentures can be converted into shares, either equity or preference or another class of debentures. Right? Then this is important to know that DRR and DRI are not required to be made on the convertible part of debentures. Right? If they are fully convertible, that means for the whole of debentures, and if they are partly convertible, then you have to create DRR and DRI on the non-convertible part, and for the convertible part you are not required to create DRR and DRI. Right? So this is important. Then I told you debentures can be converted either into shares or into debentures. So whatever new shares you will issue, these shares can be issued at par or at premium. Similarly, debentures can be issued at par, at premium or at discount. So what we discussed, debentures which are fully convertible into shares or debentures, first we discussed at par, then at premium and then at discount. Clear? So friends, if you have any queries, send me an email at ksjteaching@gmail.com. Right? So in the next lecture, we are going to do partly convertible debentures. Right? How to treat partly convertible debentures. We'll see this in the next lecture. Right? So that's all for this lecture, friends. Thank you so much.